You're listening to the Daily Sales Tips podcast, and I'm your host, Scott Ingram. Today's tip comes from Kristina Finseth. Kristina leads growth marketing at Interseller, a prospecting and outreach platform for recruiters and sellers. In her role, she's responsible for leading both the marketing and sales development teams. Kristina's also the creator of the Outbound Fire Framework course, focused on getting you to 80% plus opens, 30% plus replies, and 10% plus booked meetings off of cold email outreach alone. Here she is.
Real quick one, but I get asked this question a lot. Hey, Kristina, yes, personalization works. Sometimes it can take a little bit longer if you get down this rabbit hole of research. But how do I get my team, and more importantly, my leadership, to understand the importance of personalization? And so what this really goes back to, and really the root of the question is, how do I justify the time I'm spending versus making 50 calls? Maybe I'm taking, 10, 15 minutes per prospect, really personalizing my outreach to try to get a higher return. And here's what I usually say. First and foremost, don't piss off your leadership. We all have different goals. We all have different metrics that we're held by. They're there for a reason. So keep doing what you need to do. Fight the good game. What I usually tell people to do is, whether it's on the side or kind of looping in your leadership team and saying, hey, I'm going to keep hitting my metrics, but I just want you to know, I think it's really important to test this new method of outreach. Takes a little bit more time, but I am more than happy to carve out some time and test this on, let's just say 25 to 50 prospects, right? I will then present the data to you, leadership team, on, was this fruitful? Does it make sense for maybe me to test this a little bit more? And then it could turn into a situation where your leadership team is like, hey, all right, you're onto something. How about you kind of go all in on that? We think it might be fruitful. Let's keep the rest of the team moving until we kind of flush this out some more. So I say there's two things here. Don't be afraid to kind of stand up and say, hey, I think it might make sense to test this, and here's why. And here's how I'm going to test it without detracting away from my core responsibilities, but to also be able to make that internal business case, right? And if it turns out that you have to go and do that at night, I prospect at night. Sometimes it's the best time. It's the quietest time. If it turns out you have to run that test at night and then kind of piggyback and ask for forgiveness and say, hey, I did this over the course of 3 nights this week. It's been really fruitful. I've booked X amount of meetings. I've gotten this many replies, etc. Then do it.
For links to connect with Kristina on LinkedIn and for more about her Outbound Fire Framework course, just click over to DailySales.Tips/781. Once you've done that, be sure to come back tomorrow for another great sales tip. Thanks for listening.